Do you want to know how to help a teen with anxiety? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting and good communication, child development, how to build strong family bonds, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about teens and anxiety. In this video, we're going to be talking about teen anxiety, what that looks like, what we can do about it, and what is happening to society right now because of it. Without question, teens are struggling with anxiety more than ever before, and people are scratching their heads and wondering why, what's going on here? How come teens are having so much more anxiety than they did in previous generations? And we could definitely take a video and, search through exactly why that's happening. I've got my hypothesis. I'm sure there are many others who do as well. There are definitely some things we've seen that are for sure leading to anxiety, such as technology, social media, and such. There are even states and countries who are making programs to draw awareness to that. So keep that in mind, that could be leading to some of the anxiety problems. But one of the things that is going to heal anxiety and help with it the most is having a strong connection or attachment to parents and understanding who you are, who they are, and helping that parent-child bond really strengthen the child through all of the changes that are happening in society. Another thing that we definitely want to do is try to help the child develop a growth mindset. So if you've subscribed to this channel by now, then you probably already know that I have a video on this channel all about helping a child develop a growth mindset. That's going to be very beneficial for dealing with youth who have anxiety. They need to learn how to step out of their comfort zones. They need to learn to trust the learning and growing process. And I know that that can take some practice and training. So what exactly is anxiety? I mean, when we experience a fear or a trepidation about something, we start to worry or stress. Those things can all be characteristic of what anxiety is. Every single person experiences anxiety, which is this feeling. It's like paralyzing for some people, or like being frozen for some people. It's almost like you go to a part of your brain where you just tell yourself, I just can't, I'm just stuck, I don't know what to do from here. And that's when a person is in a state of anxiety. But you don't have to stay there. Anxiety is real. Anyone can experience it. There are certain people who have traumatic experiences that trigger anxiety in them. Some people have had physical experiences that increase anxiety. I know that for a time I actually had claustrophobia, which is obviously anxiety, because of a chemical disruption in my brain that I experienced for a while, and that was very concerning. So I have absolute compassion on people that have anxiety, however, especially more acute anxiety. But we do have to remember that it's always something that we can see through a different lens. We don't have to say, just because I'm feeling this way, I can't. That's going to stop us every time. And if we allow our children to tell themselves they can't, and we don't encourage them to develop that growth mindset and step out of their comfort zone, then we actually could end up hurting them in the long run, because they could end up thinking that the only way to handle the problems in life are to shut down. We do have a lot of young people who are shutting down. They're not launching off. They're not developing careers. They're not getting jobs. They're not going to school. There are a lot of things that they're not doing. They're not having relationships, meaningful relationships, or moving forward with relationships for their lives. These are all happening oftentimes because of amounts of anxiety, people not wanting to commit to choosing a path for their lives. And this is very concerning, because in the end, the person ends up feeling like they're not sure if they did anything useful with their lives, if they're allowed to continue down that track. So we absolutely must help our youth so that we teach them how to handle the anxiety. Now, number one, they need to be able to identify it when it's happening. That's important. Okay, this is what I feel like when I am feeling anxious. Okay, these are the thoughts that go through my head when I am feeling anxious. Now, as soon as we can identify that, we need to learn to challenge those thoughts. Is it true? Can I really not do that? Or am I choosing not to do that? Do I have a choice here? The answer is always yes, you do have a choice. The anxious brain tells the person there is no choice, but you can challenge that. You can even tell yourself as a person who, if you know you deal with anxiety, I challenge that. I challenge that thought right now. I'm not going to believe that. I'm going to prove to myself that I can do something different right now. But you are going to have to plan ahead for how you're going to prove to yourself. So if you're working with a child, a teen who's got anxiety, you're trying to help them through that, it's going to take a lot of pre-teaching. So what is pre-teaching? Pre-teaching is one of the 5 teaching styles that I talk about in the Teaching Self-Government Parenting method. So this whole channel is dedicated to teaching self-government, and that's for parents and children all to learn self-mastery, which means that they learn how to give themselves instructions, give themselves no answers, accept consequences, and self-correct, self-regulate, and disagree appropriately. So all of those things can be learned when a person is self-governing. So when a person is coping with their own anxiety, they create a plan for how they're going to challenge what is going on in their own head. And then they give themselves a no answer. They say, no, I'm not going to think that thought that's in my head. I reject it. I will not. So they give themselves a no answer. Now there's 4 steps for accepting a no answer. They're going to need to go through those quickly within themselves. Then they give themselves an instruction and they follow through on that instruction. There are 5 steps to following an instruction. When a person can give themselves a no answer and give themselves an instruction and follow through, then they will end up experiencing positive consequences for those choices. It's empowering. Just doing it one time gives you permission to try it again and again. Oftentimes, when our teens give us the excuse that they feel too anxious, they just can't do it, whatever it is, what they're really saying is, please help me get past this one time so that I know in the future I can do this again. Now, really, they really don't want to do it, but they're hoping someone will help them through it somehow. They just don't want to be the ones to help themselves through it. So what you can do is teach your children the skills of self-government related to simple things like how to follow an instruction from you or accept a no answer from you. And then you can help them work up to giving themselves no answers and giving themselves instructions. You can also have some very proactive conversations with them where you set goals for how they will end up coping with their anxiety. They need to have a plan. So long as your child does not have a plan, they will feel stuck. They'll end up getting themselves to back brain and they will shut down. The ideal is to see that they're going toward midbrain or back brain and then have a plan for how to help them come back forward to front brain, how to help them challenge what's going on inside. But you have to practice ahead of time what words you will challenge. So first, be able to say, it looks like you might be having some anxiety. Let's challenge it. What is the thought that's going on right now? I can't go to that party. No one likes me there. Okay, let's challenge it. Can you go to a party even if no one likes you? Well, yeah, I guess I can. Okay. Are you just not wanting to go to the party because you're not sure who's going to be there? Well, I guess so. Do you think we could figure out who's going to be at the party and if it's anyone you know? Sure, I suppose. Okay, let's figure it out. Now, wait a minute. Before we do this, what if we find out there is no one at the party that you know? Have you ever made a new friend before? Well, yeah. Do you think today you could make a new friend or at least say hi to somebody new? Would that really kill you? No. Okay, well, how about we call to see who's going to be at the party, but then no matter what, we plan to go to the party for 30 minutes, even if there's not going to be anyone there that we know. You talk them through by challenging, question, question, question. It's okay to say, I understand feeling nervous, but don't dive into that part too much. Instead, Ask the questions. This gets them thinking with front brain instead of midbrain or back brain, and it starts preparing them to take a step forward. Now, sometimes a person with anxiety will try to take a step forward. They'll want to take a step forward, and then sometimes they fall back anyway. Don't let that worry you or concern you in any way. Just keep moving them forward. They need somebody there for training wheels at first, but over time, as they take a step into that uncomfortable place, they step out of the comfort zone again and again, soon they'll be able to tell themselves to do it. You can teach them as long as you keep pushing them forward. Now, if they won't step into the comfort zone ever, then there might be something else that you have to do. And I would highly recommend joining the Teaching Self-Government Support Group, the TSG Parenting course, to make sure you ask questions related to that if they are not willing to challenge with you and take those steps forward. Because there are other things to do, but I don't have time to go into them on this video. There are so many more things about working with youth with anxiety. This is something that I've spent many, many years doing, and I'm happy to help you. There's a whole course called the TSG Parenting course. It's at teachingselfgovernment.com. Click on teachingselfgovernment.com, and I'll see you there.